Welcome to the Video CPA. It's good to be with you. Today we're going to be talking about advance directives. It's something we haven't talked about. We haven't talked about anything serious for a while, so let's go ahead and talk about how to get an advance directive, or at least what they are, and some of the reasons you should have one. So let's get started. We've got our affiliate marketing disclaimer here, and then let's get into it. What is an advance directive? It's really designed to outline your wishes in regard to your medical treatments. So if you as a patient become incapable of making your own medical decisions, another person can act in your behalf and make those decisions for you. Make decisions consistent with your advance directive, all right? Several different types of them, and one is the living will. And the living will was introduced in 1967. A lawyer kind of thought of that idea of having a living will, and that it would be nice for a person who knew they were going to die to be able to have something to say about their treatment. And so they weren't legally sanctioned, though, until 1976, when California passed a bill that allowed them. Prior to that, Florida had been working on a bill to allow them, but California finally passed the bill, and now all 50 states recognize advance directives. So I mentioned that there are different types. One type is the living will that we talked about. The living will is basically a will that says, hey, if I'm dying and I'm incapacitated, it looks like I'm not going to live, and the doctors are saying there's no hope for me to live. This is what I want done. And so in that living will, you can say, I don't want them to prolong my life through any heroic type procedures or anything like that. Just let me die, basically. So, and that's really what all three of these things have. And you noticed that I've got three listed here. But so the durable power of attorney for health care or medical care is a little bit different. All three of these are legal documents, and they have to be in writing, by the way. But durable power of attorney, we're familiar with powers of attorney, but also in that power of attorney, you have to list what you want to have done. And you have to appoint who your particular proxy is going to be. Okay. The durable power of attorney is kind of nice in some ways, because you can appoint, if you want to, you can appoint somebody to take care of your bills while you're still alive and be able to handle your affairs if you're in the hospital or in hospice or something like that. And you can also appoint somebody else to handle your medical decisions, or you can have the same person do both. So in each of these legal documents, you give the particular powers in that power of attorney or in that living will that you want your agent to have. And then the last one is a healthcare proxy, which is also, it does about the same thing. It gives gives a proxy responsibility and over your healthcare decisions, and they can make the same healthcare decisions that you would make if you were there and you were incapacitated and able to talk to the doctors. Your healthcare proxy can do the same thing. So all three of these are close. They're all, like I say, legal documents, and they need to be drawn up. They need to be signed and either witnessed or notarized. So just be aware that they all have to have that to be made legal. Now let's talk about pros and cons of advance directives real quick. And mostly it's pros. I mean, there's not too many reasons why you wouldn't want to have these things. So, so one of the things is that the family members and the medical staff know what your wishes are. Should certain events happen, and those events might be that you've got Alzheimer's and you're totally incapacitated, or you're in a coma, something like that. And it also, if you fill out an advance directive or a living will, it helps you consider these things ahead of time as to what your medical treatment should be under certain situations. So if you've got cancer that is going to kill you, and you need, by filling out an advance directive, you can think about that kind of stuff and what you want the doctors to do and what you don't want the doctors to do, and maybe you just want to go home and die at home. And so these are the kind of decisions you have to make, and so by completing one of these, it helps you face death head on, the possibility of death anyway, and make some of these decisions. We had I did another kind of morbid video like this several months ago, and that was on planning your own funeral. And this is the same type of thing. I mean, you've got to make decisions here kind of like you do when you plan your own funeral, but this is with your medical care. Now, the cons might be that, you fill this thing out and then you might have something entirely different. You might say, hey, I don't want to live if I have Alzheimer's, so don't give me this treatment, and then you may end up getting cancer or something and going in a coma, and it's completely different. So they've got to be pretty broad to cover a lot of different instances. And then, sometimes family members and healthcare members don't even know that they exist. And the other thing is, it was mentioned, and I'm not sure this would come into play, but if a healthcare provider knows that you're going to die and that your wish is to die, and they may not work that hard to keep you alive. And so somebody had mentioned that when I was doing my research, and I don't know if that's exactly true. I think doctors work pretty hard to do their job, but that's a possibility. All right, so this Dr. Douglas Merrill says having an advance directive means confronting your own mortality, which is difficult, but putting one together, meaning an advance directive, may be one of the most important things you'll ever do. So very important for your family. It takes the decision off of them. They don't have to feel any guilt about these things. Gives them peace of mind, and you're making your own decisions. So get an advance directive. If you go out on the internet, there's a lot of them out there, a lot of places that will produce them for you for free or for very little money. So it's not difficult to get these things, and once you get them, you've got to put them in a place where people can find them, maybe with your medical records or something like that, but put them in a place where at least your spouse, if you still have a spouse living, can find these things. And if you don't have a spouse living, your kids or something, where can they'll know you have one. You should discuss it with them, and they'll know where to find it. So anyway, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. We'll talk about something a little bit more, a little happier content in the next video. Thank you. And subscribe if you haven't done so already.